Hey everyone, this is Jeremy Smith, and right out of the gate, I have to say that it's a little surreal shooting this video here in my basement. Um, this isn't the first video I've shot, as a lot of you know, but uh, this is the first one that I've shot since the lockdown, and the plan, going forward is for me to shoot more videos. And the purpose for this video actually is to tell you about some of the new developments in my life, but also to explain the radio silence. But before I get into all of that, I just want to briefly just offer a quick word on COVID-19. Um, although 2020 has been challenging for me and for my family in about 1,000 different ways. By God's grace, uh, everyone here is healthy, and we're not wanting for anything. We're doing well. Some of you watching, I know, can't say the same, and so I just want to tell you that my prayers are with you, and I do even now pray that the Father will tend to your every need, and that the Holy Spirit will offer you comfort for sure, but will also bring you healing. I know that the virus, the lockdown, the current restrictions, it's been hard on folks in ways that I can't even imagine. So my prayers are with you. It's been a hard year for us, but I know for some of you it's been even harder. And so I just want to acknowledge that. But anyway, like I said, it's been a while since I shot a video, since the lockdown, and while the pandemic has slowed a lot of us down, especially in terms of work and ministry activities, I've had other reasons to press pause and to hit the professional and also the personal reset button. Of course, I'm itching to tell you about my future. I'm itching to tell you about a new organization that I'm launching with a team of like-minded friends. But before I do that, I want to take just a quick minute to acknowledge and thank, actually, the board of directors and the new staff over at Faith Ascent. I owe a huge debt of gratitude to that organization, and I can honestly say, second only to leading and serving my family, my time leading and serving there was the most fruitful time of my life, at least as far as I could tell. Um, if it were not for those 10 years at Faith Ascent, I would not be who I am today, and I certainly wouldn't be where I am today. And so I do pray that God will continue to bless their new crew, as well as the new direction that they're headed in. And a question that a lot of you, of course, have been asking me is, what direction am I heading in now? What's next for me? And the short answer to that is, after months of prayer and long conversations with my wife, of course, but also with my pastor, mentors, and friends, I really do believe that it is right and it is good for me to continue forward in the same ministry lane that I was already in. And what I mean by my ministry lane is that I plan to continue serving and equipping high school and college age students, as well as the parents, the pastors, and the educators who care about them. And I want to do this with a team of like-minded and mostly local Christian leaders. And I'm launching this new ministry endeavor with these folks, and it's called ReThink315. And just on the technical end, our 501c3 application is in process, and I am told by our attorney, who's also a board member, that he believes will be approved before 2020 ends, which is exciting. But in the meantime, we're coming under the umbrella of a local incubator ministry so that we can take donations while we wait for our finalized tax-exempt status. So I'll be spending the rest of this year fundraising for sure and networking, but more importantly, I'll be asking questions and I'll be listening to you guys. I want to look for creative ways to minister to and equip high school and college age students, but also the adults that care about them and that train them and that love them. So as soon as I finish this video, what I want you to do is go visit our website and get a good read on the purpose of this new organization, the problems that we're addressing, and the programs we're launching, but most importantly, all the people that are involved. You'll see a lot of familiar faces. And speaking of faces, I know that being the face of the organization, it's likely I'll get a lot of credit, but more than any other ministry I've participated in, this one is really being built on a foundation laid by men and women with a shared vision and a shared burden for young people, and I'm thankful for that. So if it sounds compelling to you, if this is interesting to you, please check out the website. And that was the short answer to that question of what's next for me, or what direction am I heading in. Now here's a slightly longer answer for those of you who want to stick around for another few minutes. So this website will definitely offer details on the mission, the vision, the values, the purpose, the people. But I want to spend a few minutes talking about our motives for launching a new ministry. Certainly, there's no shortage of worthwhile ministries out there. So why a new one? And I was actually challenged by a mentor of mine to answer this question before I ever headed down this road. And it's a good question. And as I'm fond of saying, good questions deserve good answers. So here's what I hope is a good answer that highlights my personal, on the one hand, but also my professional motivations for starting a new ministry focused on young people, apologetics, and evangelism. So personally, I spent most of the first 2 decades of my life looking at and thinking about Christianity from the perspective of a non-Christian. Not a lot of people know that about me, but I got saved when I was 18, so it was a little later in my teenage life. And of course, my perspective changed after Jesus rescued me, but I never forgot what it was like before I believed. And since then, for over 20 years now, I've tried my best to bring that pre-Christian perspective, or that sensibility, or you could even say that sensitivity, into all of my conversations with non-Christians for sure, but also with Christians and with doubting Christians or hurting Christians. And if you know me even a little bit, you know that long before I made that transition and jumped into full-time youth ministry, I was already compulsively, you could say, talking to the doubters and the devout of all ages about what they believe, why they believe it, and why it matters. So this type of ministry is a personal passion of mine, and that's a big motivator. And the same can be said, I know, for everyone else involved in ReThink315. So that's a personal motivator, but here's a professional one. I've been in youth ministry for 10 years now, over 10 years, actually 15 years, if you count the years I spent as a volunteer youth leader at a local skateboard park as a Big Brother mentor. And while most of my ministry activity has been local to the St. Louis area, I've spoken at or participated in events and conferences in Alabama, in Arizona, in California, Illinois, Indiana, Kansas, Kentucky, Texas, and probably a few others that I'm forgetting. But I've clocked literally thousands of hours talking with and listening to millennial and Gen Z students for sure, but also their parents, their grandparents, pastors, youth pastors, professors, educators, and Christian leaders from just about every tribe and tongue. And real quick, I'm not saying this to boast. Believe me, I've got nothing to boast about. I'm telling you this. I'm telling you about my experiences because more than any class that I've ever taken, more than any book I've ever studied or any training I've ever completed. My real life conversations with real people have me convinced that now, more than ever, Christian apologetics should be incorporated into just about everything we do as Christians, in terms of how we're interacting with outsiders, but also with insiders. And I'd like to see apologetics incorporated into not just youth ministry, although that's our main focus, but into everything from evangelism to discipleship to outreach to service projects to Bible studies to men's and women's ministries to invite your friends to church day, everything. And so this is a big motivator too. And the same can be said, I know, for everyone else involved in ReThink 315. So again, we're convinced, all of us, that now more than ever, apologetics training and practice is critical, especially as we interact with and engage young people. Now, some of you, I know this, some of you are thinking, well, Jeremy, okay, that's true, and I agree, but this is not breaking news. This isn't exactly innovative. 15 years ago, this might have been a novel concept for a ministry, but not anymore. I mean, we take our family to the Creation Museum twice a year. Every August, we give our college-bound students a copy of Lee Strobel's latest book. And just last week, Jeremy, the mega church up the street had a famous apologetics guy speaking to a packed house. Jeremy, this is the same apologetics trumpet you were blowing when we first met. And as a matter of fact, we added apologetics to our family and church programming in some part because you pestered us so much. So, what's the difference between this message and the message you brought to us 10 years ago? All right, so I'm doing my impression of you here, and now that's over. Sorry about that. But look, I say that just because some of you are probably thinking that, and it's fair pushback. So let me clarify. After 20 years talking to people about Jesus, and after 10 years leading an apologetics ministry, and also partnering with dozens of other apologetics ministries, of course, I'm still convinced that apologetics is important, and I'm still passionate about sharing that. However, because of my insider experiences, because of the close attention that I paid to not just program outputs, but also program outcomes, I'm equally convinced that, we Christians need to press pause and rethink the way we define Christian apologetics and rethink the way we practice Christian apologetics, especially as it relates to training and equipping young people. And here's why. I mentioned that I've been speaking to lots of different people at lots of different churches and events over the years. More importantly, I've been listening too. And following the example of one of my mentors, I'll often ask the audience to tell me, but what immediately comes to mind when they think of Christian apologetics? And answers vary, but we usually end up with a very narrow list of words. Words like debating or arguing or defending, and a narrow list of topics as well. Topics like science and the Bible and our faith. And now, to be fair, if I'm talking to an audience of professional apologists, the topic list will certainly get more technical. I might hear answers like defending, arguing, or debating topics like the ontological argument, or the kalam cosmological argument, or the teleological argument, or textual criticism, or the minimal facts approach to the resurrection, etc., etc., etc. But either way, the definitions and descriptions are fairly narrow, and they're somewhat limited. And while all of these terms and topics can and do fit comfortably under the umbrella of Christian apologetics, we want students, pastors, parents, educators to know that there's room for a lot more. So in the next video, we're going to take a look at 1 Peter 3:15 and the Greek word apologia, which is where we get this word apologetics. And I'm going to tell you why we believe we need to expand our working definition of Christian apologetics. And I'm going to tell you how this informs our philosophy of ministry at ReThink315. I'll also talk about how in my 10 years of working with millennials and Gen Z Christians, the questions have changed and the topics have really shifted. And then after that, I'll explain how our application of Christian apologetics may look a little different from other ministries, and how this will all inform our services and our programs. So, in closing, if you stuck with me this long, please go ahead, hit that subscribe button, and be sure to like ReThink315 on Facebook, and to also follow ReThink315 on Instagram. And then again, visit the website www.rethink315.org. And last but not least, if you are a student or an adult and you're interested in learning more about the programs we intend to launch or the people involved, if you're interested in potentially investing in this unique ministry, and if you actually know me personally, just reach out. Just call, text, email. And if you don't know me well, go ahead and just use the contact info on the site. And please, let's schedule a time to talk. That's it for me. Take care, and I will see you on the next video, I hope.